And we're live. First of all, welcome to our first online class. Hopefully, not one of the many. Kasi it's so much better pa rin na nandun ako sa classroom with you guys. Nakausap ko in person kasi it's really hard to talk alone here. And if you're listening to this, you're probably a member of our Facebook group. Actually, plano ko na talaga beforehand na gumawa ng Facebook group for us to have a space para we can share our knowledge if we saw a tutorial na pwede natin ma-share sa kanya-kanyang tao. It's so much better na we can improve ourselves as artists na parang community pa rin siya. So, that's the actual plan. And I really chose to put my online classes here in terms of accessibility kasi most of us has Facebook already. So, wala naman masyadong problema yon. And if you guys want, I can always post it in Google Classroom for technical reasons na lang siguro, I guess. So, this lesson won't be too long. This is why gusto ko rin na pre-recorded na siya. Wala nang, I don't wanna stream it. Gusto kumbaga, I just want it to be more concise as possible para ma-filter out lang yung mga draggy parts, and I just wanna share everything na pwede nyo matutunan na in a nutshell lang siya. Very compressed lang siya na para in the end of the class, makagawa kayo agad ng activity na papagawa ko sa inyo. If you guys have any questions after this video, you can always drop those questions in the comments, and I'll be looking at the comment section after I've posted the video para masagot ko kagad yung mga questions nyo. And sa first part ng video is I'll do a quick recap lalo na for the students who were not there in our first class kasi this coming sessions natin is very important kasi yun yung foundation nyo as a 3D artist, and you can't really survive 3D without those very basic stuff. So it's very crucial. So by the end of this video, I'll be leaving an exercise and I'll be explaining the requirements and the grading criteria for it. So, alam niyo na kung anong mga dapat gawin and ano yung mga hahanapin ko sa outputs nyo. So, by the time na by next week, I think I can still give you the time to finish up your work for now, but in the future I think I'll be more strict in the deadlines that I'll be giving. Pero next Saturday, if hindi na siya online, I'm gonna give you an extra hour for it to finish it up. Then I'll be checking it one by one after the class. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'm using Bandicam just to share it with you. I'm not really prepared recording this stuff, so just a quick recap for last session, which is intro to 3D modeling. This is the ultra basic stuff. We already mentioned the art of 3D modeling, although a somewhat technical process is nonetheless considered an art form. Well, as I mentioned, this is just a tool. As an artist, ito lang yung pana mo. Kumbaga, like I said, there's a saying na wala yan sa India, nasa pana yan. This is your pana, this is your arrow, this is your bow. Kumbaga, as an artist, this is just a tool for you to express yourself eventually pag na-maximize mo na yung software. So, I've already introduced you with the navigation and user interface for Maya. As I said, the viewport, which is this one right here. You can actually double it using Alt left click. I'll make an object for you guys so you guys can see it. So we're gonna use Alt left click for doubling the camera, and Alt right click for zooming it in, and Alt middle mouse for panning the camera. So this square part is the viewport, which is the main window that you're gonna spend a lot of time while using the software. So So this is the access system, the lower left side of the viewport. This is actually a good tool, especially when you're a beginner. Which side are you on? So if you select this face, I can see that it's facing Z, axis Z. And if I know where Z is, I know where X is, because you can see here, pag nakatapat siya sa X, this part, this side. It's the axis system. And for the, which I mentioned earlier, the Maya navigation commands, alt left mouse drag to orbit there around the scene, alt right mouse drag to zoom in and out, and middle mouse drag to pan around the scene. So alt orbit, alt left click for it to orbit the object, alt right click to zoom it in and out, alt middle mouse to pan. And if you have like multiple objects like cylinder, a plane, a sphere, and if you want to, for example, na nagmo-model ako dito sa cylinder na to, and I wanted to edit out the sphere naman after. The thing is, kunwari, I'm working on this object, and I want to edit this part. If I orbit around, if I alt left click again, yun yung problema kasi nakafocus pa rin siya sa cylinder. So to solve this, kailangan you have to press F para ma-focus mo yung object kung nasan, para ma-focus yung object na gusto mo i-edit. And for the object translations, as you can see here in our slides, you have to press W for translating, basically moving the objects left to right, pataas, pababa. E to rotate the object components, R for scale, T for its attributes, and like I said, yung focus, letter F to focus the object. So if I want to select this sphere, if I want it to rotate, I press E. Now I can rotate it. If you want to snap it, just drag this line and press hold J. Hold mo yung J para mag-snap siya. Very important ang snap sa Maya kasi pag nag-pile up na yung models mo, it has to look clean. This makes the models clean if it's snapped or organized siya into place. And the T for its attributes, so you can edit the radius of this one, subdivision angles. This is the T key, letter T. And we already mentioned the user interface windows. The status line para yan dun sa if you're a modeler, if you're a rigger, may mga iba-ibang menus na lalabas dyan. Depende on the tools. It depends on the tools that you wanted. If you're an effects artist, you just select the effects tab there and lalabas na yung mga tools for the effects artist. Now, as for us, the game modelers, we're obviously gonna go at modeling tab. The shelves are very, very important, lalo na sa atin. We have a lot of tools, so we can create shortcuts using this one. I have a custom shortcut like this, which I made para at least I have shortcuts na sa most tools na ginagawa ko here in Maya. So if you want to make a shortcut again, you press Control and Shift, then click. As you can see here, lumabas na yung freeze transform. Ulitin ko lang ah. So, if may gusto kang i-add na shortcut, yan, if you wanna add a tool, find the tool you want here sa menu bar, and then press Control Shift and click. Lalabas na yung shortcut niyan sa shelf na gusto mo. And for the command line, this is very useful window as this is where errors appear. So, dito sa part na to, itong mel, yung mel, lalabas dyan yung mga errors or anything na details about SANF. Basically, the errors. I'm just doing a quick recap here just in case you're confused or I'm going too fast. This is a quick recap with the last session. So I don't want to really focus on this one. I just want to have a refresher. Kumbaga, I just want to refresh you guys yung sa mga natutunan yung last session. So yeah. So next is the attribute editor. So with this one, you can usually see it here sa right side, attribute editor. You can see the attributes ng mesh nyo. Yung scale, yung pivot points, yung display niya. Basically, the whole settings ng object. By sa channel box, dito nyo makikita yung translations and yung mga inputs nyo, basically the history. Like, I've already mentioned it last session about the history na every time na may movement ka or any actions na lalabas sa object nyo, lalabas yun sa history dito. So if you guys remember, you can actually edit the translations ng objects via channel box kung if you're too lazy to actually drag this object. You can click this example, yung name, yung nung translate or translate X, just click the name and middle mouse drag mo. And you can actually translate the object without actually dragging it in the viewport. If you wanna rotate it to the y-axis lang, you can click the name. You can just middle mouse drag it. You can input the number here, 50. Oh. Yan, nag-rotate na siya. That's basically it. The 3D viewport windows, we've already mentioned the perspective. Yun yung default view ng Maya. And the orthographic views. So, yung orthographic view is para makita mo lang yung flat view ng objects mo in all angles. So, if you press space, lalabas na yung top view, front view, and side view. So, if you want to return to perspective again, press space. If you want to focus on, kunwari, gusto kong i-maximize yung, gusto kong makita yung full view ng top, i-click ko lang yung top view, then press space again. Lalabas siya sa top view. If you press space again, babalik ka ulit sa orthographic. If naka-hover lang yung mouse mo to with this four cameras here, dun lalabas, dun ma-maximize yung window. So, if galing ka sa perspective, press space, then mouse hover or click the side camera. Then if you press space, ma-maximize yung side camera. So, going back to the viewport windows for the orthographic view and perspective view, now we're gonna recap the object creation that we just talked about last session. We've talked about creating the objects, naming the objects. By naming the objects, you just name it here in the channel box. So if we're gonna go back to the perspective view, just select the channel box right here in the right side of the window, click the object. So Maya would know if what object you just selected. And you click the sphere. This is the usually default name, like sphere cube 1. You click the name, backspace, and name whatever you want. That's basically it. And we've mentioned the history, like every action it reflects, so you can go back to it. Here you go. By deleting the history, para the more kasing marami kang actions, nagbe-build up yung history mo. So this is the reason why yung ibang Maya files nagkaka 2 gig, 3 gig na very basic model lang yung ginagawa nila. Usually dahil hindi sila nagde-delete ng history. This is the parang typical problem ng mga beginners. So to delete history, you have to go to edit, delete by type, history. For me, gumawa na ako ng shortcut sa shelf ko para hindi na ako mahirapan para every time na I'm satisfied with the object, delete history ko na siya. Control, again, to make a shortcut, control shift, then click. Lumabas na dito sa shelf ko yung history button. So, kung gagalawin ko ulit siya, as you can see the history here, pag click ko to, may erase na yan. So, ma-optimize yung Maya file mo. So, we've discussed the manipulator tools kanina. Yung pag-move lang din naman, rotate, scale. Tapos, editing in component level by saying component level. Ang component level lang din naman is yung, if you right-click the object, if you drag it to vertex, ito yung mga vertices points, which is yung mga crosses in between ng mga edges. So, by saying manipulating the component level, if you click a vertex and you translate this one, yun na. Yun yung pinaka-essence ng modeling. You're just gonna manipulate vertices, faces, and edges. So, by saying vertices, ito yan. Right-click the object and select vertex. If you wanna go back to selecting objects, right-click it again and object mode. So, by saying faces, then like I mentioned kanina, right-click, drag it to face. Ito yun yung mga faces. Same with the vertices. You can drag, you can translate it to any direction you want. You can rotate it to by pressing E. By pressing R, you can scale it. Same with edges. If you wanna go back again, right-click, object mode. Now, if you wanna edit the edges, you're gonna right-click the object again and drag it to edge. Click mo yung edge. You can translate then, rotate, and scale it too. Bale, yun yung pinaka basis ng modeling. You're just editing the component level talaga. Next is hiding and mga like I said sa past session ulit, I've already mentioned how to hide objects. Yung isolate tool, hide tools, and layers. By hiding the object manually, you have to press Control H. Makikita mo yan sa outliner. By saying, like I mentioned dati, outliner is yung window that composes everything, every element na nandyan sa viewport mo. So, this is the object na nirename natin kanina. If I wanna hide it, Control H, nawala siya, and muted na siya sa outliner. Para mabalik yung visibility niya, you just have to press Shift H again. To hide it, Control H. To unhide it, Shift H. You can also isolate an object para ma-focusan mo siya, hindi ka masyado ma-distract by selecting the object and use this tool, the isolate tool. Isolate select. So, if pinindot ko siya, ma-isolate yung object. Hindi ma-distract yung mata ko sa pagmamodel. To unhide everything, you just have to unclick this. The next one, another way to hide an object is by layers. To add something here in the right screen of my in the right screen of my window, just select this one, create a new layer na sa selected objects. Lalabas na siya dyan. And parang Photoshop lang, may mga layers lang na ma-edit mo yung visibility. The whole thing about this is, may option din siya, nakita niyo itong box na wala pang any labels. Pag click mo siya, lalabas yung wireframe dyan and you can't select anything. This is another way to view an object or to mute them para makita nyo lang kung ano itsura niya pag nakalapat siya sa ibang objects. You can do it with this one, pero parang yung plain object lang talaga siya, yung default view niya, pero you just can't select it. You can rename this to by double clicking it and rename it again. You can color code this too para hindi ka maguluhan kung masyado marami. There's going to have a point na medyo marami ka na ring layers dyan if you're gonna utilize this tool. So it might as well have colors in it para organize ka at least. So yung grouping objects, I don't know if you guys remember this. So balik tayo sa outliner. Then again, para ma-access ulit yung outliner, kailangan nyo i-select yung this window sa lower left corner ng window. Show or hide the outliner. So, para mag-group yung objects, so if I want these objects to be grouped, I have to press Ctrl G. So, pag nag-group na siya, if I select this as a group, I can translate this and rotate this as a group. Para if marami siyang object, you don't wanna combine it. Mas madali siyang ma-translate. Hindi ka na mag-multi-select ng mga objects manually. Now for the pivot points, by saying pivot points is para, let's move the outliner muna. By saying pivot points is yung point kung nasaan yung center ng pivot ng object. So if you wanna change this, so since the pivot point is nasa center siya, if I rotate this, galing siya sa center mag-flip. But if I change the pivot point by holding D, if I hold D, mag-change yung icon niya sa gitna. So if I move the pivot point here sa edge, dyan na yung pivot niya. So if I rotate this, dyan na magagaling yung rotation. Now if you wanna reset the pivot point na from that point, kunyari gusto mo i-reset, you can always do a center pivot na. I have already a shortcut here as you can see, pero if you wanna make a shortcut or manually do it, so nasa modify siya sa pivot tas center pivot. Then control shift ulit if you wanna make a shortcut, then click center pivot. So pag nag-click ka ng object, then you wanna center the pivot again on that object, press this one. So balik na siya sa dati. And for the last one that in our last session, which is combining objects. By combining the objects, it's basically self-explanatory. So if you multi-select an object, so if you want to combine these two, I'll press the sphere, shift, then select the cylinder. I'll press shift, then right click. There's a combine button here, right down this one. So if you combine two objects, it will automatically, the pivot will automatically be in the center. So sa gitna siya parati every time. So again siya, gigitna siya sa dalawang objects. So if you wanna change the pivot again, press D lang. Tapos ipwesto mo siya kung saan mo siya gusto. So dito, if I want, kunyari gusto ko ilagay dito. So if kung rotate ko, doon siya mag-rotate. Yung Maya is, i-read niya na siya as one object kahit hindi siya magka-attach in any way as long as it's combined. If you wanna separate it, well, there's a separate option here na if you press shift again, right click, there's a separate button here na nasa taas lang na combine. So if you separate yan, nandun na siya ulit. The thing you have to watch out about this pag-combine ng mga things and pag-groups is if you check the outliner, lalabas yung old history ng mga groupings. Hindi madi-delete yung folder sa outliner. The more you have this, the more nabibigat din as usual yung Maya file nyo. That's the new way you can actually save a file. Is ang daming history and ang daming outline, madaming stuff sa outliner na hindi na di-delete. So by deleting it, just have to select the objects na nandun or select everything, then delete history. So nakita nyo, may mga folders or mga junk folders na wala na ding laman. So by clicking the delete history button, automatically dinidelete ni Maya yung mga unused folders. So ang natira na lang is this one, which is ito and ito, yung old grouping na ginawa natin last time. So yun na yung basically that's it. Yun na yung na-recap, yun na yung mga na-cover natin last session. So the next part is edit mesh tools. So ito na yung mga tools na gagamitin natin along the way. So we're done with the whole recap with our last session. So nandito na tayo sa edit mesh tools, which is add divisions, bevel, bridge, detach tool, collapse, connect components, extrude, merge and merge center, average vertex, edit edge flow, duplicate, and extract. There's so many things pa na I wanna cover pa about sa tools, pero I don't wanna mix it up sa ibang bagay kasi for me, ito yung mga usual na gagamitin nyo in terms of modeling ng basic things, and actually ito yung pinaka kailangan yung foundation in terms of tools na dapat very familiar na kayo agad dito kasi mga important tools yan na kadalasan yung gagamitin to make a 3D model possible. So to start it up, siguro I wanna start with adding division sa object. So let's go back to Maya. So if I wanna create a cube again, by adding the division lang, like I said, sa channel box, sa right side ng window nyo, sa inputs niya, sa history niya, basically, if you click it, may subdivisions dyan. So, if you click the name of that subdivision, and you middle mouse drag this, automatically siyang magdadagdag ng subdivisions. Pero if you want it to be even, you can manually press this as like, kunwari, like 8, ganun. 8 here and 8 there. So even na siyang 8 sides na siya. Pero if you want na, kunyari gusto nyo sabay-sabay na ma-click yung buong value nun, you can drag this down and kunyari gusto nyo ma-change to 5 lang. If press enter, automatically na siyang magsasabay if you multi-select this by dragging lang yung box nun. So kunyari, ewan, ang multiples, gusto kong i-select yung tatlong yan. You have to drag this down lang. 5. Yun lang. That's basically the basic way to add divisions lang. Or if you want to do it manually, there's a way to create this part by going to edit mesh and add divisions. So bevel, create a new cube and notice that the outer edges of our cube are very sharp. Gagawa ka ng cube, usually it's obviously sharp. We would like to have a smooth transition between our edges. Yung reason lang din naman yun kasi ang onti lang there's basically almost zero object sa Earth siguro na 90 degrees siya. If you look it under the microscope, parang may ano pa siya. There's always a variation ng shape or parang a curve dyan parati. So, tsaka parang mas maganda rin siya visually sa mata. So, by doing a bevel, you have to select the edges. So by right clicking it, again the object, right click, drag to edge. Now you can select the edges that you want to bevel. So ako parang gusto kong maging smooth lahat ng sides ng cube na to. So i-mark select ko sila by dragging kahit saan sa viewport. Drag left click. Masa-select na sila. Shift, right click, bevel. Now, magiging sobrang smooth niya pa. Parang i-break down niya kasi yung edge. So, kailangan yung i-adjust yung fraction niya. As you can see, nabalik yung dating shape ng cube. It retained the original shape of it. Pero kailangan mo lang na i-adjust hanggang sa until satisfied ka. So, pwede rin gawin tong like 0.05 or less, nga 0.01. It's more of a trial and error lang talaga. So, 0.0, kunwari 4. With this, pwede ka maka-add ng edges in between our segments para mas maging smoother yung edge. So, if you take a look at this side, if magdadagdag ako ng segments dito, mas maging smoother na siya. So, balik ako sa object mode. Mas maging smooth na siya compared sa ganitong cube. Visually, mas maganda siya tingnan. And mas smooth. Pero, I have to warn you about the bevels kasi if kunwari, magbe-bevel ka, Kaya na-bevel mo siya ng ganyan. Ay, 0.05. And you didn't add the segment in between. So, kaya nakagawa ka ng bevel na walang segment sa gitna and may triangles. May triangle siya sa corners niya. The thing is, mahirap na siya i-select by loop lang. And basta eventually magiging problematic na siya along the way. So I highly suggest maglagay pa rin kayo ng segment in between. You can add a segment kunwari nakalimutan. There's a case na kung nakalimutan yung maglagay ng segment. Pwede siyang balikan sa history. Select the poly bevel. And there's a segment tab there. You just have to click the name ng segment ulit. Then middle mouse drag ulit. Pwede mo na siyang ma-adjust.